Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm here to do the So Nice I Bought It Twice, I think that's what it's called, tag. I was tagged by KK Loves LV and my friend Maddie Shops, who did this tag video. It was started by Jerusha Couture quite a while ago, and I'm just getting around to doing it now. Some people have shown all the things or talked about the things, including things they no longer have, where maybe they've bought and sold items and got a different version, you know, or they've had seller's remorse and they've reacquired that item. I'm not going to do that just because I can't really be accurate about what I've had, what versions, and then what I've got again. And so we'll just do that as a bit of a general chat. And then I'm going to give you my actual examples of things I have multiples of in my collection. It might be the same item in different sizes, different colours, why I've got more than one version of it. I'm going to do SLGs first, then some footwear, and then bags. Kept it to relatively high end because I think that's meant to be the theme. There are two themes here. One is indecision and like making mistakes and refining my collection. And then the second is the happy place, where it's just buying multiples of something that you know really works for you. So let's explore the first sort of talking point first, which is that when I first got things like Neverfulls and Speedies from Louis Vuitton, I was really unsure about what print and particularly what size I was after. Anyway, so I have had Speedy 25s, Speedy 30s, lots of different versions, bandolier, not bandolier. I've had the Azure print, I've had monogram, I've had Ebene, and then I've ended up with one Speedy 30 in the Ebene bandolier. So I only have one Louis Vuitton Speedy, but I've had also, I had a bright red Empreinte one in a 25. So I'm not going to show that because I just have the one now. I get tempted to get the 25 again, so I would be buying that twice because I've had it before. Similarly with, at one point I had a Neverfull in Ebene, which is, where are they? Oh, it's on the next level up, which I've now settled on as my favourite, but that's not my first one. I've had the GMs, I've had the Azure GM, I've had the, Empreinte, not the Empreinte, the Ebene. And I think just overusing them for many years, I was able to whittle it down. So I don't have as many multiples in the Louis Vuitton canvas bags as I once did. So in terms of SLGs, and I've also had various Chanel bags and the same bag in different sizes and stuff like that, but I've kind of honed that down too. In terms of SLGs, it's much easier to keep a really over large collection because they don't take up as much storage space. One thing I wanted to show you is when a product comes in different sizes and you just decide that actually gives you the most flexibility to have all three. So this is the toiletry, the original one that they actually stopped selling for a while, and then they brought it back with like bells and whistles and it's more expensive. I also have the 26. Now, my justification for these is I just think they're so classic and old school, the styling and the shape of them. And I feel like the 15 is a great handbag, mini kind of makeup bag and essentials thing. This in-betweeny size, which I think is the 19, I use in bigger totes or when I go away. And then the 26 I use as like a wash bag or makeup bag, and I use it on holiday as a clutch quite a lot. So for me, that wasn't like an experiment in, oh, I'll get all three and then I'll get rid of the ones that don't work for me, because they all work for me and they all get lots of use. And another example with Louis Vuitton is my favorite like sort of wallet is a small compact wallet, but that has lots of different slots and functionality. This is the Rosalie coin purse from Louis Vuitton. I got this one first to go with my Neverfull because my Neverfull is this print and it has the pink lining. So I got this and I absolutely love this little wallet because it's got a zip section for coins. It's got lots of places to put your cards and notes, and it's just really sleek. And then the sides are gusseted, so you don't have that open side where you can see all the cards and stuff. I like clean lines. So I loved this so much that I did end up getting the Empreinte leather version in black with the metal press stud, because I wanted to have a leather one. Like this matches my Empreinte pochette material. So yeah, it's so nice. I bought it twice because I actually thought I'm using this so heavily that it would be good to and that's another thing we're going to talk about, to have another one. If you have multiples, there are pluses and minuses. Every time you spend your money on another one of the same thing, I guess you're not experiencing the thrill of like a new brand or variety of a totally different product you've maybe not had before. But on the flip side, the positive side is you already know it works for you. So you're just getting another one. But for me, I reckon I use these about the same. If you really love something and you use it a lot, by buying a second one, you reduce the wear and tear on those items. So you're rotating more and they will have a longer lifespan because you're not, if I only had this wallet and I used it every day, after probably a couple of years, the glazing would be gone, it would need repair, it may need replacing. So the fact that I've got a million SLGs means that they all look pretty pristine because I swap them out a lot. Key holders, again, this isn't meant to be deliberately all Louis Vuitton, but for me, Louis Vuitton is such a practical brand when it comes to these things. So I have a 4-ring key holder. This is one of these things where when you don't own one and you've never owned one yet, you're like, why do people buy those key holders? And then once you've got them, they're such the most convenient way to house your keys over anything else that I just love them. This is probably the one I use the most. It's a 6 key ring. So this one's got the 6 hooks, and then this bit behind here is actually big enough to house some cash or a credit card. This one, the slimmer ones, that bar, you can't really get a card in there and then do it up properly. And then this is another one. This is really old and battered, but I still love it. This is an epi leather one. When you're downsizing and you want something really small, and when you want to house more keys and maybe skip on a wallet, this slightly bigger one is a good idea. Okay, a key pouch with a kind of coin pouch with a zip, with or without a chain, is a favorite of mine. So I have several of the original kind of Louis Vuitton. I have like a little chain hook thing. And then my newest one is the new, I'll hold it up so for size comparison. This is the new range where they're bigger. And this one is super, super practical. It's still got the key thingy and it's got like a little slip pocket there for your credit card. And then you can put coins and money and your keys and everything in there. Anyway, and then lastly for SLGs, I mean, there were a couple of other examples, but I just, we have to draw the line. I always say I'm not a collector, but I guess in a way I am. I like the comfort of the familiar. I used to chase novelty more when I first was building my collection. And then now I have this weird comfort factor, this nostalgia for certain things. And I also hate risk. I hate ordering things. They don't work out. They're not quite what I thought. They're bigger or smaller, or the colour's different. Or I think, oh, I don't really like the way that sits on me. And then you have to go through the rigmarole of sending stuff back. So sometimes I like the idea of like a new colour or leather finish, but in something I'm familiar with. So this is the kind of equivalent to this from Mulberry. It doesn't have the little chain with the hook, but instead what they do have is an exterior card slot, which is really also quite practical. And also they do have a loop, so you can hang cute little charms and things. And they're just really nice leather. They're lined in leather and they're a nice size. So I really do hit myself. I like these. So I've got this dusky movie pink. Sometimes they have a plaque. Sometimes they just have the foiling. And then I have a purple one, and I have this sort of seafoam green with the silver, which goes with my bags with silver hardware. I don't regret any of these. All of this gets lots of use, and therefore it is worth the money. Okay, let's talk about footwear. So footwear is a good example of, because it's such a practical thing and you physically wear it, if you know it works for you, but you have like a gap where you're like, yeah, but I don't have a pair that go with these colours or these type of clothing, then I think it's a really justifiable purchase. So I bought these Chanel ballet flats probably like 2016, ages ago. And I've had them resold a couple of times with more of a kind of a tough tread. And I've made them last. I don't wear them day in, day out, but I don't save them for best either. They are pretty pricey, but for me, they're worth it because they are a certain shape and cut on my foot that is really comfortable and super flattering. No other ballet pumps at whatever price point make me feel how these make me feel. I don't really wear heels. Well, I don't wear heels at all apart from the odd little bit of a wedge or kitten heel. So when I want a court shoe, this is what I'm going to wear, right? I think they look great with jeans and everything else. So if this was a crystal 6-inch heel, I would probably not have any, or just have one pair. But because these work with everything, then that's what justified me to buy it twice, buy it 3 times. So I bought the black pair first, and this is in a just sort of slightly crinkled calf skin. And then on another occasion, knowing that I loved those and I wanted some other colours, because that can be a bit wintry, just a black pump, although I think that's very classic. On the same day with some friends actually in Harrods, I bought this kind of quite summery, it's like a tomatoey red pair with a lighter wooden heel. And then I bought the lambskin, very soft ones in the classic 2-tone. All of these are fine because when I was a lot heavier, I really stopped wearing these. My foot really bulged out of them. I had a lot of water retention. And now that I've just hit 4 stone, they fit beautifully. So they're getting more wear. And I think that in the future, I will definitely buy more because I know they work for me. And I have still got outfits where none of these go. I would like something in a cooler tone. These are both quite warm, like a navy, maybe a tweed. And I think the plan is to buy a pair a year or so going forward because I love them that much. I'm not trying to justify, I'm explaining why I have several of certain things, and other things I think one's enough, you know what I mean? Loads of Gucci, different loafers and different, but I have 3 pairs of the Ace sneaker. Well, this is technically not an Ace sneaker, but the cut and shape are pretty similar. So the first ones I had are the ones with the hearts on. So we're talking about a white trainer with red and green detail, but they get put away because they've got primary colours on. I wouldn't wear them in the summer. I personally wear those red and green ones around the holidays now, and my first pair are quite old. I probably would replace them at some point if they still did them. And then because they had busy, lots of colour on them, I then got this pair, which have just got the Gucci in the grey. Sorry, I didn't clean any of these before shooting this video. And then they've got a perforated GG. I love these. They're so nice. I know they're not very trendy anymore, but that's the other thing. If you're going to buy something more than once, it's obviously going to be because you really love it and you want to use it for the long term. Well, that's how I interpret it. So I don't care. The older I get, I care less and less about what is a current trend, and just finding things that are like, oh, that's B's style. That's like a signature thing for B. And a pair of white leather trainers, even with a smart dress, is a thing that I do a lot. And these I got because they're pink, and you know, my channel name is B Shops Pink. And they have this gold B on the back, and they're just really different. I love the gum sole. I love the pink. So they've got this like amber little kind of thing here. They're just so cool. So yeah, I bought those 3 times each, those 2 pairs of shoes. Okay, I've moved because I'm going numb sitting here. So bags now. So the first example I'm going to show you is buying something in another size because you love the first one you got, but you kind of, there are things about the other option or colour or whatever that you're like, you still crave, and then you add a second one. So I umd-and-ahed between the 2 versions of this bag. This is the Totem T-Lock bag. So the bigger one, which is quite a substantial sort of day bag, has got like a grab handle like that, and then a shoulder strap. And then there's a clutch, and I have both. So I bought the clutch first, and I loved the bag. It's got a very, it doesn't dip as much as this one does because you're not holding it by a handle. And I wanted a small evening bag with silver hardware, and I fell in love with this whole T-lock thing. But I was like, oh, it's really small and it just has crossbody. So I ended up sending that back, and I got the bigger one. And then I waited like almost a year. I still had a hankering for this, and I added it. So I loved this bag so much, I bought it twice. Why did I get the same colour? So a pebbled leather in black with the stitching, because the straps are different and I can swap between them. So I can wear this as a shoulder bag with this strap, and then the crossbody strap in here, I probably wouldn't, but I could put it on the larger bag. So that just gave me a lot of versatility having both. Okay. Next, I'm going to talk about my Mulberry Mini Alexa. So I have it in tan, but I don't know where that is. And I loved it so much that then my husband thought, when I said to him I want a bright red or a bright pink bag, and then for Christmas he got me this because he knew I already liked the bag, so it was a pretty safe bet. So I got the hot pink. And then last year for my birthday, I actually did, this wasn't a surprise, I sent him a link and said, if you can't think of anything, I know I have 2 of these, but I love lilac and lavender, and I didn't really have a high-end metallic bag that I truly loved. And I also like that this one's got silver hardware and the other 2 have gold hardware. So it's just that when you have a favourite style that you know works for you, but you maybe not get bored, but like you just have it in a very classic kind of shade and you think, I would really like to have that in other colours. This is probably the one that gets the least use because I have to be in a very specific mood to want to carry hot pink. So yeah, this is my first mini Alexa. And you know, I feel like there are particular, like with Loewe, the puzzle bag is such a feature of the house. The kind of raffia bags and stuff like that. So yeah, I loved this one, and I think because I wore it so much, I then got other ones. These 2, where's the, I also have the white one, I'd forgotten about these. So I have a lot of things in that are appropriate for this tag. I love these pochette accessoires. I don't know if they still even make them, or if they're probably prohibitively expensive now, but if I could just have one, I think the classic monogram one is just so great. I have crossbody straps for them all, in like the vachetta, and then with that Abine one, perfect little crossbody bags. You can use them as a little wristlet. I've got a little gold chain from Louis Vuitton. I just, if it ain't broke, you know, buy several. Okay, and then the last thing with Mulberry is I really just adore, I think that's the thing with some bag styles, and there's no rhyme or reason to it, you buy one and it just satisfies you. Like I have a black caviar medium large Chanel classic flap. There's never been a time where I've thought, well, now I need a beige one, now I need a red one. Like I have that one, it's pretty pricey, and it feels like it's the one that is the one, the classic one for me. So there are other bags where I feel like I want to broaden out and have more colours, but with certain things, I don't feel the need to. Okay, with Mulberry, there's just one more example, and that is that I absolutely love this zipped Bayswater style. It's my favourite. It's very structured. I love this burgundy one. And I also had a bigger one, but I did sell that because, again, I bought it twice, but because I thought, oh, I'll get a different size. But that was just too big and like a work bag, and I don't do that kind of officey work, so I didn't need a big structured bag like that. I sold it to a friend who does carry paperwork and stuff. And when I sold the solid grey, I loved that colour, but when I sold the solid grey one, I instead went back to this size for my second colour, and I got this, which I absolutely love. I can't remember the name of this. If you go back to my reveal of this, if you scroll down my feed, I do have the details there. But this one's got silver hardware. It's a much more supple, expensive leather. I think it might be teak. I'm not sure. It's got this beautiful scarf tied on it. I just absolutely love this one, and I wear this a lot. If you love something and your heart wants a particular one again for your second or third one, don't force yourself to deviate because you feel like you need like if you love a certain size and you think, well, I can't have 2 the same, you can have 2 the same if you're going to really wear them. Got that bigger size, or asked for it for a gift or whatever, because I felt obliged to have as much variation, but that size just didn't work for me. So this is my last example, and that is my YSL college bag. This is such a great bag. I love it. So this is the medium. It's got a top handle and a crossbody, and it's the perfect length. I love it, and I loved it in this grey. So then I, a couple of times actually, was in London and I tried on the large version just to hold them up. It is quite a lot bigger. And I think I did a video fairly recently all about these two, so I'm not going to go into it too much. But basically, I sold my Chanel Jumbo because it didn't work for me for various reasons, and this is like my replacement. And again, I feel like these 2 bags, they just have a completely different role with outfits and the way I wear them. I wear this one on my shoulder because the strap is a lot shorter, or I just sling it like in the crook of my arm. and I can fit a paperback, lots of stuff in this one. And this one is more of a crossbody situation. When I'm walking a lot, I wouldn't take a bag usually this big. I go a bit smaller and I go crossbody. But again, if once you discover something that really works for you, then I think stay in that lane and don't feel obliged to get the Lulu or the puffer or what, you know, that doesn't really speak to you. If you love something and you think, I wish I had this same bag but bigger, do it, because you know yourself and you know what you'll wear. So that's it really. I'm just going to summarize my main points, which is the things that I would take from this tag, is that it's fine to have multiples of things. Know your own style. You will develop what your own style and your preferences, and you'll get better at that over time. Like, I haven't sold anything for a long time because I haven't made any mistakes in a long time. I love everything I have. And sometimes buying something twice, 3 times, and you know, on the one hand it can be an experiment early on where you're not sure yet what you really love and you maybe let things go. And then for me now, when I'm adding a second or a third, it's because I love that thing and it's become a signature item for me, like the Chanel ballet flats, like Louis Vuitton SLGs, like Mulberry bags, but getting a different color that goes with different types of outfits, or is, you know, a different tone. And I don't feel like, oh, you know, some people would say, well, if you didn't have 3 of these, you could have had 3 lovely different bags. But you know what comforts you, what feels familiar, what you get a lot of wear out of. And if you've got the room and the budget to get multiples, you're going to be, if you wear them all, you are going to reduce wear and tear on the ones you've got. And so then they will last longer. But obviously, one thing I would say is I reassess this whole situation regularly, and if things are really not getting worn, I think, do I still want it because it's a treasure and I will reach for it occasionally? Or if I let some of these things go because I feel like bored by having all the multiples, then I can bring something new and fresh into my collection. So I hope you enjoyed having a look at some of my goodies, and I will see you in my next video, which is just going to be a roundup of recent favorites.